Welcome to the Missouri Accreditation video tutorial series. In this video, we're going to talk about completing our staff roster. Located under the program Staff inside of the Merit system after you've logged in, you can manage your staff roster. You may note that you have a red exclamation mark at the top of your screen like I do here. What that is indicating is that your site director or whatever noted staff does not have the appropriate educational credentials noted in the system. If you have questions on this, you may need to contact the Missouri Accreditation staff to make sure that the proper credentials are in the system and that they have been approved. Now, we're going to need to add our staff members. It is important that you not only enter your teachers, but any support staff related to your program. That includes bus drivers, or any type of aides, or any type of support people such as cooks or janitors. To add a staff member, I'm going to choose Add a Staff Member. Here, I'm going to enter their information. I will then choose, after putting in their first and last name, what position they are at my organization. For now, I'm just going to select that Jane Smith is a lead teacher. The system defaults to today's date, but I want to make sure I update that to when I hired Jane. I'm going to say that I hired her a few months ago, back in April. After I have that information in, I'm going to choose Create. You will now see that Jane is listed as a lead teacher. So now, under Jane Smith's name, I'm going to choose Edit to add some additional information associated with her. As we scroll down, we can see her work schedule. For now, I'm going to keep it simple and say that she works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. If Jane happened to work a split schedule, I can choose Add and put multiple lines of entry to reflect her proper work schedule that I have for her in my organization. I'm going to choose, since she's a teacher, what class she's in charge of. In this case, I'm going to choose the 3-year-old class. Jane may also teach other classes, and I would be able to, maybe at different times, if she comes in on different days for a split shift, indicate so through that pull-down menu on a second line. As we scroll down here, you're going to see we need to verify that Jane is qualified to be a teacher. To do that, I'm going to need to provide documentation. This documentation has to be in a PDF format. You'll note I need a college transcript from a regionally accredited college or university. I need current early childhood state teaching certificate, and I need a secondary teaching certificate, school age only, and a child development associated credential. Each one of these we only need one for. You may have a teacher that only went to an accredited university, and yet you may have another teacher that went to an early childhood state teaching certificate. You do not have to provide all of these, just one. There are some situations in which you may have a staff member who has already been determined by the Missouri Accreditation staff, and they're already on file. If that is the case, click this checkbox here. I'm going to go ahead and say that Jane has already submitted one of these documents to Missouri Accreditation, and it's been determined that she is qualified for her position. And then I'm going to choose Update. At this point, I've added some of my other workers for my program, as you'll see here. I'd like to point out the difference that you may see under the Educational Review. At this point, a review is required by the Missouri Accreditation staff for Jane. You can no longer move forward in the process until all of your staff have been reviewed by Missouri Accreditation and ensure that they meet the proper educational requirements. If those requirements are not met, the Missouri Accreditation staff will reach out to you and have you update appropriate documentation or provide additional information for clarification. Again, you can no longer move forward in the process until everyone in your staff listing has been approved and does not have a red review required notice, as indicated here. We want everyone to look like Ed Jones up here at the top. This includes the program director, as you can see noted here. When you add your program director and they get approved, notice my red exclamation mark warning has cleared. So, at this point, we're waiting for the Missouri Accreditation team to review all of our staff and ensure that they're properly qualified in accordance to their standard. After some time has passed and Missouri Accreditation has been able to go through and review your education requires for your staff roster, when you log into the Merit system, you will see your program listed here, and you'll see an option for updating program staff. Click that. You will now have an option, because Missouri Accreditation staff has gone through and looked at everybody, see that all of our red reviews are gone. I can choose Submit Roster for Review. By doing this, it will allow me to move forward into the next steps into my application process. You will now note that I have an overview of the entire process that I'm going through for application. The system tells me that my next steps is that the Missouri Accreditation Education Specialist has to review my staff education. On the left-hand side, it indicates the same, because I have a check mark on all of my updating program staff is complete, and I am in the process of my review staff education requirement. It shows a due date of when that should be processed by. In some cases, during this educational review, Missouri Accreditation may reject the staff education that has been submitted. You will need to partner and work with them on working through these issues in order to meet the eligibility requirements. Otherwise, once this is approved, you will be able to move forward into the next steps of the application process. This concludes our video on walking through the process for completing the staff roster.